it for analysis, we would have to start from scratch. So after clicking the start with data and clicking next, we would be on the select a data source page. Okay, has anyone followed um this one? Okay, please give thumbs up if you have already followed. Share your screen. Okay, thank you, Davina. How about the others? Asti, Kisha, have you followed? Or who else? Anggun. Okay, once we are here, we will once we are here, we will click on the file, local file or file server. Yes, correct. And then create or select source file. The file that we downloaded, what file is that? The one that I gave you. We would use that for this one. Okay, so let me share my screen. There. So start with data and then next, and then local file or file server, and then select source file, and then select the one that we downloaded, the ADSE dataset for data modeling 2025. Okay, and then just click open. It will look like this. Keep the check on the use first row as column headers. And then please give a thumbs up reaction if you have followed the steps. Done. Please give a thumbs up if done. How about the others? Can you still follow? Just tell me if you're having difficulties, okay? So that I would be able to assist you. So once we have selected the ADSE dataset for the select source file, we will press create. Okay, it will look like this. Your file is currently being uploaded. You will just wait for that. And while it's processing, let me just discuss measures and dimensions. Okay, so in business intelligence or especially in SAP Analytics Cloud, we have these concepts for measures and dimensions. So SAP Analytics Cloud automatically source columns as measures and dimensions, so two of them. They are commonly used concepts in data visualization tools. So measures are quantitative and numerical in nature. For example, sales, what else? The count of people, height, height, yes, height, especially in numeric terms, and other stuff that are numerical. Okay, total number of cases, as for our example, right? Total number of cases, number of vaccines administered, population count, poverty incidence, and other stuff. So those are measures, okay, for us to be able to think, uh, uh, for us to be able to remember it. Measures are quantitative and numerical. Okay, they are numbers mostly. And then dimensions, on the other hand, they are qualitative and categorical. Like for example, city, date, age, range, gender, socioeconomic status, and other stuff that describes our data qualitatively and categorically. Okay. So once okay, once we are already here, please choose the measure. We can scroll down or we can type it above total cases. There, this one, and we can click on that. And then everything about that data would be on the right side. Please, um, please give a thumbs up if you are already on that part. How about the others? Done. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So once we have selected total cases, on the right side of the screen, let us go down to aggregation. So on this part, we have pressed this right, we have clicked this one, and then the details will appear on the right side. Just scroll down, and then all the aggregations, we can select on the aggregation type, we can select uh, well, total cases on the right aggregations under exception aggregation type. Select last. Exception aggregation type. Select last. And then under exception aggregation dimensions, select date. There, date. Okay, again, once you click total cases, just scroll down on the right side of the screen. And then on the exception aggregation type, select last. And then on the exception aggregation dimension, select date. Okay. And then once done, please give it a thumbs up so that I will be able to know. How about the others? Done. Okay. Again, if you're having difficulties, please don't hesitate to tell me so that I will be able to help. Okay, so why is this? Why did we do this? Because remember when we have data, right? Even whatever tool you use, even if it's Excel, even if it's SQL, we group data, right? And there are different types of grouping data. So for example, select all from this table, group by, right? We do that, right? So why this last? Why what do we mean by last? So because we are aggregating by date, we would want to choose the last information or the latest information based on the date. Because, for example, some data, for example, there are new cases. Yesterday, there are 4 cases, and then today, there has been 5 cases. What happens when we don't do the last type of aggregation? It includes the data even yesterday. So the data becomes wrong. Why? Because the patients today are still the patients tomorrow with an addition. So when we add them together, some of the patients are duplicated. That's why we only choose the last information for the aggregation. Okay, followed. Is it clear or do you need more examples? Please give a thumbs up if it's clear. Thank you, Rayhana. How about the others? Okay. So what are the other types of the aggregations, right? There are so many in here, but the most that we use are number one, sum. Okay, it is when we add all the values together. So we are not thinking of getting the most recent data or uh, the farthest data. For when we say sum, we are just adding the values together by month. So for example, all of the patients that are present during March, we will aggregate it through sum. Okay, we are just getting the sum of all the records of the patients. When we say count, it counts. It doesn't, like for example, if the values are saying in this X hospital we have 450 patients, and then uh, in hospital Y we have 19 and stuff. We do not add those numbers. We are getting the counts that are present for those. For example, there are one record in this area and then one record in this area instead of summing them together. Okay. So minimum displays the minimum value and then maximum displays the maximum value. So wherever you go, whatever tool you use, these are all present. Okay. Even if you switch to SQL, even if you switch to Python, all of these are present just in a different syntax. Okay. Average calculates the average of all aggregated values. First is the oldest value, and then last is the most recent value. So for this example, we are choosing the most recent value in the selected time period. Okay. So after that, we would be choosing population. So we are done with this one, right? So let us choose population. And then as for the population, please click on the three dots here. And then we will click convert dimension. Okay. If you would be noticing, the data type right now is integer and we would want to convert it to decimal. Wait, that's wrong, sorry. Uh, Convert to measures and then decimal places 2 there. So if we would click on it, we can also change it here. There are several ways actually. We can change it here. For example, we would want to return it back to integer. Okay. We can change it on the right side also on the details for the measure. Okay. Done with uh, population conversion. Please send a like reaction if you're done with converting population from integer to. Okay, done. Okay. Okay, why did we do this? Why did we specifically turn it into decimal? Because sometimes although SAP Analytics Cloud correctly identifies measures and dimensions, there can be times when we have to manually input the data type that we want to have for that specific column, right? There can be nuances at times because, uh, for example, population, we would want to convert that into the correct data type that we want for that measure. Okay, so now we will save our activity. So on the top of this page, we have this icon for save. We will just click on that, and then once we have done that, we will click on this public folder, and then Indonesia, and then this one. There, you can save it here. Just put an underscore and then your name there, and then your name here. Okay. So again, it's public, and then inside of the public folder, we have Indonesia and Philippines. We will save it on the Indonesia folder and on the folder of our university. Okay, done. Please give a thumbs up if you're done. Okay, thank you, Ari. How about the others? Can we still follow? Again, don't hesitate, please. If you have having difficulties, we will be resolving your difficulties. Done, done. Okay, thank you, Zulri. How about the others? Okay. Now, next, what we will do next is we will create our first story. Okay. So again, we will expand our navigation bar, and then on the side of the screen, we will click stories. Okay. So we would see this screen, and then we would be clicking create, and it will look like this. Okay. So again, we will go to the stories. For example, I'm in home. I will just expand this navigation bar. I would click on stories and then click on responsive. Okay. So once we are on the same screen, please give a thumbs up so that I will be able to know if you are able to do or able to go to the create stories. Done, done. Give a thumbs up if you're done. If you're having difficulties, message me. How about the others? Like done? Okay, now we will start creating our story. Thank you, Rihanna. Okay. So, even if we have not started yet, we will already save our story. Okay. Same folder. Public Indonesia, then our university, and then let's name it exercise, and then okay, save it first, and then we will continue. Done. If you're done saving it, send a thumbs up. Okay. How about the others? Were you able to follow? Sorry. Okay, done. Okay, now we will start with our chart. You can click chart because we would want to have visuals here already, right? We can click on chart and then put it here, and then it will prompt us to select the dataset or model. So we would select the dataset that we have created a while ago. Okay, so for example, as for me, I will be choosing my name, and it will appear here. Okay, actually we can minimize this one there. So it will appear here on the data source, and then for the measures, sorry, we can select new cases for the measures. Again, measures are quantitative, the quantitative part of our data. So new cases, and then for the dimensions, we would want to select location. Why is that? Because in this chart, we would want to view cases per location. So after we've done that, we will click um, the option here, and then we will select rank, and then top 5 locations. I think it's top 5 locations. Location, and then top 5. Why is that? Because we would want to uh, see the top 5 locations with the highest cases of COVID before. Let's expand this one. To expand it or to grab it, you can just be on the corner, and then you can grab it once this appears. Once those icons appear, or you can grab the corners to expand the table. And then once we are here, please exclude the world, exclude Europe because it is not a country. Okay. We would want to see countries only. North America is not a country, right? We will exclude that. Asia, of course, we will exclude. European Union, not a country also, exclude that. And then South America, there. You can even rename this one, new cases per location. There, so it will look like this. Okay, followed. Have you followed this part of our discussion? If we've done it, please I would appreciate if you can chat on the chat box an example of the chart that we made. And once done, please send a thumbs up. Done. I will wait until you are done. If you would want me to repeat the steps, by the way, it's okay. You can just tell me so that we can do it together again. For example, I was too fast, tell me, okay, so that I would be able to assist. Done. Okay, Rihanna has done hers. How about for the others? Are you done? Okay, if you are able to follow, please follow. If the session is too fast or maybe you would want to follow later, that's also okay. Just make sure to watch the recording, okay? So that you will be able to be upskilled in SAP. Okay, so I will continue now. So after we have done the new cases per location, and why have we done this first? Why have we chosen the top 5? Because we would want to rank the top 5 problematic countries first with the highest COVID-19 cases. Okay, we don't need to view all of the countries. If we would want that, we can dedicate maybe a page for that, or maybe we can uh, make this larger. But as for this report, for this COVID-19 report, we would want to view only the top 5 uh, places with the highest COVID cases. Okay. So it will be easier for us to do other visuals because we do not need to do it from scratch. We can just duplicate this one. Uh, let's say we will click on the button here so that we can view the options. If it doesn't appear, we can click on the chart and then copy and then duplicate. Okay, again, once again, uh, drag it on the other side and then change the measure to new tests. So instead of cases per location, we will now want to view it. We would want to view the new tests per location. So how do we do that? We just duplicate this chart and then we will change the measures. New tests. And then same as we've done before, we will sort it or we will just choose the top 5 for location. So there. New cases or we will change the title of this one to new tests per location. Okay, done. To those who are doing it now, please give a thumbs up so that I would know that you are done or not having any difficulties. And for those who are having difficulties to follow but would want to do it together with me or with us, please tell me so that we can help you. Done. Okay, so now we will create another type of chart, but we will produce it from this one. I'll just maybe I would want to minimize this one so that we can create space for other charts at the bottom. Okay, so now we would want to duplicate it again. Okay, copy and then duplicate. And then on the chart, we would want to select trend. This one. Where is it? Time series. There, time series. And then the measures for this one, new cases, and then the time, we would want it to be the date. Okay. Just click the date and it will automatically appear. New cases per location. And then under color, we will just select location by clicking this. There. So it will look like this. And then let's name it new cases per day. New cases per day. Okay, have we followed? So those who followed, please give me a thumbs up so that I will be able to know if you have been able to do it. Done. Okay, thank you, Aisha. Okay, thank you, Riva. So for the last chart of this page, we would use a calculated measure. Okay, we will do it first and then I'll explain later. Okay, we will once again, duplicate this one. Copy and then duplicate and then put it here. Maybe I would want it all like this one. And then let's look at the details on the side, and we will select numeric point. Okay, numeric point. And then when the tile is selected, the trellis one. On the trellis part, we will remove location. And then on the measures, we will create something. Okay. Okay. We will also remove new cases because we would want to create our own calculation. Okay, so measures and then primary values, at least one measure required, we will create on the calculation. So it will pop up a window, something like this. And then we will type new cases there. And then we would want to divide the new cases per tests. And we will click on over. And then what we will do is I will minimize this one. But has anyone followed up until this point in the new cases per location or in this type in this part of the chart? Please give a thumbs up if you have followed so that I would be able to know. Okay, thank you. Okay. So we will click on it once again. And then on the styling, we will want to go to the number format. And then we will select percentage. Scale for let's name it positivity rate first, and then we will check on the format. And then click on the three dots here, and then options, styling. We will uncheck use. Okay, we will go back to that in a while. Okay, so after that we will correct this or we will rename the tab. We will name it global because these are the cases for the global cases for recovery. Okay, has anyone followed? Please give a thumbs up if you have followed. So now we're finished for the global. Okay, thank you, Naifa. How about the others? Done? Okay. Now we would want to create something specific for ASEAN. How do we do that without doing it from scratch? So we can duplicate this one. And then we can just type ASEAN. Okay? Because we would want to um, create specifically for ASEAN. And then for ASEAN, input control, I think it's here. So we would want to create a filter for this one. So dimensions and then location. So again, After cloning the global to ASEAN, we would click on the input control on the upper side of the page on the insert part, and then we would drop down. We would click the drop down, and then we would expand on the location. Filter by member, because we would only want to filter the countries that are ASEAN. Okay, okay, let's start with Brunei. Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, and then Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Timor, and Vietnam. Okay, so now we can see that the locations are specific to ASEAN countries. Okay, tell me if you have followed up until this point, and then we will just format the page. We will just add the signs, and then we will take a short break. Done, done. Please give a thumbs up to those who have followed. Okay. So now I would want to format this page. I would want to minimize. Let's minimize this for aesthetic purposes. Okay. This one we will format this later after the break. Okay. Now let's expand this one because we would want this to have prediction. Okay. Okay. So we will click on the right side. This is what we have been discussing a while ago about the prediction or the forecasting. Okay. And then add more options, and then add, and then forecast. And then we will click on automatic forecasting. So it will be, of course, COVID is already done. But for example, we have another data that we would want to have a forecasting for. We can use this feature so that we can use or we can predict or forecast the data that we will be having for the next period of time. Okay. How we followed on this formatting. So as we can see, these parts are the uh, forecasted parts. Okay, so the data is only up to this point, but then because of SAP's feature, we have been able to forecast the next periods. Okay, so for example, we let's click on all. We have a data only for up to March or May 1, 2021, and this is monthly data, right? So for July, um, for example, we are still on the time period where there is COVID. We can predict the numbers for July based on the past numbers that we already have. Okay, please give a thumbs up if you have been able to follow to this point, up to this point. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we will style our story. So okay, let's click on edit styling. You can just right click and then we can click on styling. Okay, again, for example, just click on any empty spaces here, then edit styling, and then we can choose gradient for background. Any will do. So now it looks like this. We can also do it one by one per chart. Yeah. Mm. Let's click on each of the charts so that we can style them one by one. Edit styling and then styling. Bar, fill color, grid lines. Maybe we can have it background colors there. This one, okay. This one, let's edit the style. So edit styling, and then background, background colors. Well, basically we can do it for every chart that we have here. Has anyone followed up until this point? Please give a thumbs up if you have followed up until done. Okay, okay. So we will take a break for 5 minutes, or maybe okay, I will give you until 11:05, and then let's return back for the rest of the session. Okay?
So we have a break, sir,
Yes, yes, Kak.
for 15 minutes.
Would you want 15 minutes of break?
Ah, okay.
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 We will be back maybe until 11:15.
11:15 or 10:15?
Oh, 10:15. I'm sorry. Yeah, 10:15.
Okay. So I just
I was looking
confirm.
at a different
10:15.
10:15.
Okay.
Thank you, Kak Sitra.
Thank you. So everyone, my students, kita rehat dulu 15 minutes, nanti 10.15 kita will start again, tapi tetap di Zoom ya, nggak usah kemana-mana. Thank you.
So again, to modify the background, we just have to click on the edit styling, and then we can change the background of the visuals that we have. We can also do that individually for our charts. Like for example, the new cases per date. Okay, we will just click on the options, and then on the options we have edit styling, and on the styling part, if we if we scroll down, we can see the widget background color. We can just change the background color of our widget. So for example, for this one, I have selected this light blue. It will be light blue. Okay, so we can also do that for um, the first chart that we made for global. Okay, let me just repeat what we've done for global. Background color is gradient, and then we would want to change the background colors for the widgets. We will make it blue. Okay, so this one also widget. Okay, when we click the widgets, it will automatically view or automatically show this window. Okay, so that we will not be confused. Widget and then background color, we will choose blue. Okay, this one we will choose also blue for it. Okay, selected blue. Last one for the global. There we go. Okay, so a while ago I was also saying that we will be formatting this number because we want for it to look like percentage. Okay, so we just have to click on it. We will expand uh, on the information window, and then on the measures, we will have these three dots here, board, right? So we will just click those three dots, and then we will click on format. So currently, the scale is unformatted, but if we drop it down, there are other options there, right? But we will uncheck the use unit of underlying measure, and then as you can see, it has been percentage is present. We will just choose that, and then we will click on OK. Now, we would want to change the name under our measure. So let's just edit the calculation, and then for the description or the name item, we can just type positivity rate there. So let's also see if it's okay for seeing it. Not even there. So just kind of mirror the global, right? Because it kind of inherits the properties of the first chart. Okay, so I guess that's it for that part. We can save it. Please save your activities. Save. I know that we have already saved it a while ago. We would just want to save the progress that we've had. Okay, and please click like if you have finished up until that part. React with like if you have followed up until that part. Anyway, this activity is also recorded and is also saved there. So please, if you have time, study it so that you will be able to gain the skills needed for SAP. Done? If you are done, just raise your hands or give a thumbs up so that we can proceed with our next steps. Okay, thank you, thank you. So that's it for the visualization, for the stories part. For the smart discovery, it's on the module, but the capability is yet to be here, maybe. But I will show you something else. You don't need to follow, but Let me just show you on the data analyzer. Yeah. So for the data analyzer, it's kind of like also this dashboard, but let us see the capabilities of this data analyzer. So we would just use the data that we have from our model. So it's my name. So we can see that we have the measures and total cases, but we can add on the rows and columns. So if you would see the features here is kind of like, how do I explain it in layman's term? It's kind of like the analysis for Excel or the Excel pivot table, right? So we would just put the rows and the columns that we want to see on this uh, table. Okay, so for example, we would want to have new cases on our rows, new cases, maybe new cases only, cases, and then we would want, okay, I remove the version, and then we would want location, the columns part. Okay, so as we can see, the locations are our column headers, and the measures uh, are our rows. But we can also interchange them. Like for example, we want to see it like that there. Okay, so now we can see the new cases, and we can also add other measures here. Like for example, what do we want to add? Just for the sake of example, maybe we can add just like what we have done, new tests, the measures there, or maybe positive rate. Yes. So we have it, right? So after that, for example, we would not just want to view the data that we have. We would also want to check if the data that we have is already, uh, how do we explain it? Critical, the criticality of the data. So we can click on the conditional formatting, and then let's say, for example, in this new threshold, uh, for the sake of example, this new threshold, we would want to select cases maybe. New cases, new cases there. And then maybe this one is 0 to 4,000. And then warning is 4,000 to 10,000. And then critical is 1,000 to 10,000 to 1. Just for an example. So it will appear like this, but if we want, for example, we want it to be the color of the cell, for example, we can edit that and we can say the style should be color background there. So we can see the criticality of the numbers. So where is this applicable besides the COVID-19 data? This is also applicable. Let's say, for example, you are running a business and you have the supply chain on your business. You would want to check if the supplies of your business are already in the critical state and you have to order another supply. That's one of the examples. Supply chain is an excellent example. Inventory. Um, where else? In analytics, maybe sales. If certain sales or sales in certain locations are lower than usual, you can record it as critical, or any other threshold that you might want to record. Okay, you can follow this one uh, even after the recording, okay, so that you can discover the capabilities of the SAP Analytics Cloud. I'm sorry, my mic was muted. Thank you, Rihanna. I almost forgot. Thank you so much. But as I was discussing a while ago, anyone can hear me? Please give a thumbs up. Thank you, Rihanna. Anyway, I will discuss again on what the next steps are. So where have I been cut off as far as you remember on the data analyzer or okay. Just to be very sure, okay, I will discuss it again from the data analyzer so that you can go back on it, okay? So, a while ago, I was discussing the stories. We have finished the stories, right? Let me go back to the stories so that we can. I want to be sure that the recording, when you review it, will include uh, the stuff that we have been doing a while ago. So, what we have been doing a while ago is that we have been. Okay, okay. Maybe we can edit this one. Okay, let me just check because I want to repeat that topic with you guys so that I will be sure that you would have the skills for that. Okay. Oh, I don't want that. Okay, wait. Stories. And then let's say let's see if we can edit. Let me find a way that we can discuss it. So a while ago we were discussing just the application window. This one. Okay, we were discussing how to format properly the numbers that we have in our chart. So, uh, for example, in positivity rate, let me create another example in another file, so that you would just be able to apply it. Stories, and then let's say responsive. Okay, let's say we will get the data again, just for the sake of example. Okay, Indonesia. Then, so, okay. The latest or the last stuff that I was discussing is about the numbers formatting besides the colors and the background colors, the design. So, for example, if we have for example, we would want to use instead of a chart, we would want to use, let's say, numbers, measures, total cases. Okay, let's remove all of these calculations. So, calculated measures like positivity. Let's say cases divided by tests, right? this one. Let's delete the others. Let me for a week for us to be able to repeat. Okay, so in positivity rate, when we divide the new cases over new tests, it doesn't appear as percentage, right? So in the recording, if you will review it, let me check it. If you would review it on the recording, let's make screen visible. Yeah. If you would review it on the recording, what you will see is that it's in decimal. But if you click on the three dots uh, on the top of the chart, you would be able to see formatting. And then you just have to uncheck use format there and then change it to percentage. Okay, because we would, for example, you present a chart to someone and you're talking about the, for example, let's say positivity rate. You wouldn't want it to be viewed in a decimal format, right? Okay. So that's what we were discussing. And also, I have discussed that, yes, even though we don't see the capability for smart discovery, uh, let me, we can also double on the data analyzer. Like, for example, we would want to choose from an existing model. We can choose the models that we have already created, right? Like, for example, I would choose the one that I have created, this one, and then I can create uh, a table from it. Like, for example, I would want location. I would want to view location in the rows, right? The countries here and the total cases for the columns. I can even add more, like for example, uh, let's say total test. Yeah, maybe we can include that. Or what else? What would you want to add? Uh, maybe that's it for this example. So for it not to, for example, we would want an indicator that it's already critical. Let's say, for example, we just don't want to view the numbers. We want it to have an impact, right? We can use conditional formatting for that. Let's say, for example, we will create a new threshold. Okay, again, I'll do it here. So here, from this chart, you can go to the right side, and then you can click on the styling. So on the styling, if you scroll down, you would see conditional formatting. It is just like how we do it in Excel. Okay, so for example, in Excel, right, we have also this conditional formatting where, for example, there are duplicate values. In this case, we would apply it for the measures that we have. Like, for example, uh, in the total cases, right? When we say zero, we would want it to look good when it's 0 to, let's say, for example, 4,000 cases. And then we would want to add 4,000 to 10,000 is a warning. And then, of course, 10,000 to 1 million is a critical range, right? We would choose on the measure the total cases. And then if we apply it, we can see icons besides those numbers. But for example, we would want to have other types of conditional formatting. We do not want the symbols. We want, um, let's say, color background. That's how it will appear. Okay, so we can use this for our reports. The example that I was mentioning a while ago is, let's say, for example, we are store owners, right? And we want to check if the supplies that comes inside of our company is already on critical level. those are the use cases for this one. What else? Let's say, for example, we are gathering weather data, and then we have this threshold that from one temperature to another, it is good, it is critical, and it is warning, right? Are we following the examples? Please give a thumbs up. Okay. Okay. So I was also saying that I hope that uh we follow it. Okay. After this, even after this session, you can study it on your own. Maybe you can also discover other things that I haven't been able to discuss. Maybe you would even discover something that an expert already does, right? So don't limit yourself. Don't be so overwhelmed that, oh no, this is too much for, yes, maybe it's too much for one day, but if you would get every every benefit that you can uh, accessing this SAP, from, I know that you have access until December. You would be it will be very, very good for your resume. Okay, so what's next for us after we have done those recordings and activities, right? So of course, number one, we would want to finish the rest of the exercises, for especially for those who haven't completed the exercises. We can team up with other classmates, our other classmates, just so we would be able to learn this technology. We can get the help of Katak Citra, or uh, we can also view it on YouTube. We also have generative AIs, right? We can teach ourselves through those things. We can also enroll for a SAP Analytics Cloud course through this link. I will send this in a while. And then you can challenge yourself to register for the ASEAN DSE competition through this website. And one team comprises 2 students. Okay, we I highly encourage you to do these three. It is very good that we immerse ourselves with the new technologies like this one, uh, like the SAP Analytics Cloud, so that we will be able to be included in the next wave or next cycle of um, data, data technologies. Okay, so because we want to be future proof, right? Because there is a global shift. We are transitioning from a world of intuition to a world of evidence. Data is no longer just information. It is the vital infrastructure of our modern operation. So, um, as I was saying a while ago, I'm sorry if I was on mute, but what I was saying was, every day I deal with data, and I can see how much these companies invest in data infrastructures, not just in the for example, in SAP, right? Not We do not just invest in SAP. We also invest in individuals that show technical skills, because these skills are uh, in demand for the next coming years. It is said in this slide that in ASEAN, the digital economy is projected to reach 1 trillion by 2030, driven entirely by data insights. Especially now, almost everything runs on data. That's why even these data companies, these cloud companies, invest in data infrastructures, right? Because analytics is in every industry. We have these smart cities where we optimize energy and traffic for millions. It's coming, whether we like it or not. So it's best if we are able to prepare ourselves for the next uh, wave of technologies that are to come. What else? In healthcare, just like our example a while ago, there are new technologies in healthcare that if we are the first ones to learn about it, we would be given, you know, uh, an amount of, well, pay is not the only motivator, right? But if we want to be on the sectors that have high demands, it, analytics is also on healthcare. Medicine modeling, they use machine learning for that already. They use analytics for that. Agriculture, even agriculture, sometimes we are thinking that maybe agriculture isn't part of the innovations in technology or in data, but no, it's already a part of technology and data. Because if you search for what's this one?
Hindi ako mamakan satu. Mana aku na nga dibagi. Kasi nanti aku makan satu ulang. Kanan. Inabaan. Isu. Bukan. Ada. Katanya nak punya. Aku mau punya. Mana bagi aku dulu semangkanya. Belum akan makan.
So it's growing, right? The trend is growing, especially for the next coming years. There is an exponential rise in demand for data-centric roles across the regions. And the top roles to watch in 2030 is AI specialist, designing intelligent systems and Gen AI workflows. Let me just interject. You're hearing about AI replacing people, right? I know it's kind of a scary news, but um the good news is that we can be included in the next wave of technology that is coming. But it's finding an equilibrium now. It's not as scary as before because companies are still seeing the values of human, of people who are working for them. But of course, the next wave of people who will be working are people who are empowered to use data. Like, for example, before, just for the sake of example, administrative stuff, right? Before, you would check or you would look on the, let's say, pictures of the receipts or PDFs, and then you would type it manually. But now, as an administrative staff, you would not just be an administrative staff, you would use AI to compress your work time to be more productive on other stuff. So the work isn't really eliminated. It's just being replaced by the tools are just being replaced. You just use these pipelines and models to I think it's OCR, so optical character recognition. I remember it right to encode those characters to the databases or to transfer them to other forms of data like arcade data lakes. So other roles are data engineers building the pipelines that fuel business logic. So if you are a data engineer, you are one of the person that prepares the data so that it can be used by the data scientists, the AI engineers, the business intelligence specialists, the data visualization specialists, because you are at the foundation of the data of the company. And of course, another role is the BI developer, where you turn raw signals into actionable strategy. So when you say BI developer, business intelligence, you take the data that the, let's say, for example, the data engineer cleans and does, and then turn it into a format. Like, for example, the one that we did now. If you will master this skill, you can apply for a business intelligence developer on your future company, because what you have to do is to make the stakeholders of your company understand the data that you have, because you can't read billions and billions of rows, because sometimes, for example, when you are employed in a company that for example, the fast-moving consumer goods, right? You do not just process hundreds of rows daily. You process, for example, for 1 month. There comes a time where, for example, me, I have processed 13 billion rows on one sitting. So it's not it's not readable, right? It's not like the stakeholder can look at the Excel with those billions of rows and then check data from it. We need business intelligence developer to turn those data into data that is understandable and actionable. Okay, so those are the top pros that are to be watched in 22. So how do we future-proof our career with ASEAN DSE, with data science explorers? Of course, number one is to participate in enablement sessions such as this one. Okay, so don't just attend this. I hope that you would study the video, discover it on your own. I know that there is a manual, you can also follow that, and then compete in the national finals, and then of course gain sub certification, and then enter the ASEAN talent pool. You know, SAP is one of the biggest tools that we have for analysis or data analysis, data engineering. You know, it is one of the biggest tools that we have in the market. So if you have SAP, even if it's just the one that we discuss in this enablement session, automatically you are uh, empowered. You are, you know, you have this skill already to be able to be considered for employment or